For this instructional video of making a chocolate chess pie, you will need 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, a half a stick of butter, 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of canned milk, pie, pot, stovetop, and an oven. You will also need to set the oven to bake and set it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You will need to set the stovetop to medium heat in order to melt the butter and sugar. You'll first add the sugar to the pot and add the half a stick of butter. You will constantly want to stir the butter and sugar to make sure it has melted properly. To make preparation easier, for the dry ingredients you could go ahead and measure out. So what we'll do now is take and measure 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And here I've added them into a container so we can dump them into the stove pot when ready. We will now go ahead and measure out the canned milk into another container. For this it will be 2 tablespoons. We will now crack the 2 eggs into another empty container so we can just add them in to make the process easier. Remember to constantly stir the sugar and butter and to make sure it's properly melted. As you can see, the sugar and butter are melting properly, almost ready to add in the next ingredients. We'll now add the cocoa powder, again 3 tablespoons of cocoa, and make sure you properly stir that in. Next we'll add the canned milk, in 2 tablespoons of canned milk, and stir that in properly as well. You want to add the eggs and make sure you bring it to a boil and make sure you get all the lumps out as well. We'll add in the 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And stir that in properly as well. Continue to stir properly to make sure everything's mixed in and melted together. You want it stirred until it starts to boil. At that point, once it starts to boil, it will begin to thicken, and at that point you're going to want to add it into the unbaked pie crust. Important to make sure you always to keep it stirring, make sure it does not burn at any point, and then it's beginning to boil, so at this point we're preparing to add to the pie crust. Now pour all the ingredients into the unbaked pie crust. Now you'll put the unbaked pie crust with the ingredients into the oven that is at 350 degrees. Timer, set timer for 30 minutes and begin timer for letting it bake. Also, while the pie is baking, be sure to clean up the mess you have made. Be sure to check on the pie to make sure everything is running properly and smoothly. Though the timer is going off, you still may need to check the pie to make sure it's ready. We will do so by inserting this tool. And we want to make sure it's clean. As you can see, it is clean. The pie is ready. Now you let the pie cool. Now just enjoy your pie.